Well, let's call the meeting of the Finance Committee of Stephenson County, Monday, January 13th, 2025, to order. And second item 2.0 is prayer. Mr. Crick, you've been pretty common at that. Would you mind?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this gathering here this evening. We ask that you would guide us as we make the decisions that need to be made for our county and have them be best they can possibly. Thank you for each member and each audience member here this evening, and we thank you that we can be together here, and we ask you to keep everyone safe on the way home. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, sir. Item 3.0, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
And that's second. Do I hear any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 4.0, review and approval of meeting minutes from December 16th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Do I have any discussion from the minutes? There's anything that I need to things. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of claims, we have Finance Committee claims in the amount of $530,000, $530,951.76. That is $397,539.17 in manuals and $133,412.59 in cash requirements. What is the committee's pleasure with that?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Diddens. Second.
Second.
For seconds, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, next we have the health department was not able to meet with their finance committee this month, so we have they approved their expenses as well. So we've got cash requirements of $51,715.81, manuals of $2,574.91 for a total of $54,290.72. I would entertain a motion to approve these as presented.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Diddens, seconded by Mr. Frick. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6.0, public comment. If you would like to make a comment, you are welcome to. Please state your name for the committee, and you will have 3 minutes to present your comment.
Hi, I'm Ed Klein. You all know me. I live over just outside town. As the saying goes, don't mess with success. Also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm hoping that the Stephenson County Board will continue what has been working at the Stephenson County Nursing Center since May of 2022, which is a full-time administrator and a management team, namely transitional care management. Why mess with a successful operation which was arrived at after months of discussion and many different considerations? After reading many of the Nursing Center Committee minutes from the past years, I was recently reminded of the effort that this board committed to finding a solution to the situation after the terrible years of the COVID crisis. It was a monumental struggle, but it was a struggle that has paid off. Fortunately, under the careful management of TCM and the Nursing Center Committee, the Nursing Center is back on stable financial footing. According to the treasurer's numbers, we had a loss in 22 of $637,436, but a profit in 23 of $1,080,121, and through November of 24, a profit of $469,643. But the census certainly needs to increase. In 2015, after Darnell Fortney left, it was 133. It has steadily declined. What hurts us now is that this board has never made the statement that the nursing center is not for sale. There has been no statement since the broker was hired in January of 23. No one brings their loved one to a facility that could close. Please make that commitment to the citizens of this county. I'd like to also address what might be an overlooked consideration, that TCM can be replaced with a billing company and then use outside consultants if needed. I checked with the audits from Fulton County's Nursing Center. They're a county-owned nursing center with 49 beds. The average they paid for consultant and contract services the past 2 years was $433,500 per year, or $12,000 a month. These are parts of TCM's package they perform for us, in addition to the billing services. I spoke with Lester Robertson, who is a retired administrator with 50 years in the business, both private and public nursing centers. He's a board member of the Illinois Nursing Home Administrator Association. He stated to me that if we have less than 1/3 of our beds filled, public pay, we have a full-time administrator and a management company, and we are in the black, we are doing everything right. There's no reason our nursing center cannot continue to grow and provide more services for the citizens of our county. Let's keep what has made us successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Jody Pott. Oh, wait. Cheryl has a handout that she's gonna give to you. Let me get started. You ready? The services of TCM provides are many. That TCM provides are many. Here's the list. TCM full recruiter dedicated to keeping open positions filled. Nurses, CNAs, and all other positions. Chief Clinical Officer does site visits, develops policies and procedures to keep up with all of the changing needs and new regulations. It is a resource for all things clinical, which come up every week. Trains on clinical topics on all levels, helps during IDPH surveys, audits charts for accuracy. This resource should not be underestimated. TCM HR director helps the employee issues and keeping current with all new regulations that change often. It's a great resource for payroll issues, union issues, and grievances. Vice President of Therapy Services does site visits, oversees the outsourced therapy vendor to keep them honest, audits charts for accuracy, trains entire staff on Alzheimer's and dementia care, is the activity department consultant also. Director of clinical reimbursement is involved in weekly meetings regarding correct billing or correct coding for reimbursement. Trains on proper documentation, which will pass audits, is involved with audits of which are always present. The government and insurance companies constantly are auditing our care and documentation, is a conduit between nursing and the billing department. The chief strategy officer works with admissions and marketing and reviews trends and reports. The billing and accounting department involved with everything tied to billing and collections, documentation needed to get residents' bills approved and paid, coding correctly, appealing denials, reporting of all income which is received, communicating all changes to the Department of Medicaid, or HFS, for Medicaid covered residents, changing resident personal portions due to facility in the Medicaid system, sending out all bills to all payers, mostly electronic. Medicare quarterly statements, reconciling Medicaid monthly bed taxes, calculating how much the building owes to the HFS, generating the quarterly PBJ report to the federal and state government. Failure to do this will cost the facility money due to fines. TCM property physical plant manager helps the facility management or maintenance person with building issues, and the president and CFO of TCM oversees the administration and develops goals and timeliness. So I'd like you to consider all of the things that TCM has brought to the table. And I don't think that we can train a single person in-house to do all of these things.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Hearing none, we will move on. Reports of the committee, Diamond Brothers, I talked to Carrie. There is no report for this month. The transition, year over year seems to have gone smooth. We haven't had any issues with departments or anything that she's aware of. I asked her to plan to be here at our March meeting for an update on how the financials are looking and how everything's going. County Administrator, Madam, you have the floor.
All right, I will try to keep this brief. Chairman Hubbs was able to meet with the city this morning. I was unable to keep that meeting. UCCI, we have 2 board members who have requested and registered to attend that meeting. So we've taken care of the room, working on car rentals.
Excuse me, could you speak a little louder?
Oh, sorry about that. They also issued their refund and the invoice refund for the previous year's membership dues, invoice for the current year's membership dues. Office is working on the IMRF annual reporting that is due. We're hoping to have that done by the end of the week. And to wait for all of the payroll changes that take effect to be entered into the system to run the report to generate that. Ongoing union negotiations with the UAW contract at the Highway Department. Our next meeting is on Thursday. We have had, I've had a lot of contract work lately with our assessor and our nursing home administrator. So working on those with the state's attorney. The RFP public opening was this morning. We received the 4 bids that were sent out earlier in your email. Mr. Bell, who is our risk assessment management person from IPMG, will be attending the March department head meeting, doing some departmental reviews, offering to do on-site visits, some things that we annually do with IPMG. Department head meeting, a lot of positive feedback on the interactive agendas. I think a lot of the department heads are becoming more active in what's going on in committees outside of the ones they report to, since the documentation and things are readily available. A couple of department heads spoke on that. We talked about the new laws taking effect as far as the main one kind of affecting all of us is job postings requiring the salary spread in the job postings. So talked about some new laws and the updates that we got for those. And the next GFP meeting is January 29th.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, we will move on. Madam Finance Director, you have the floor.
Just a few things going on with year end. We officially rolled into 2025. This time of the year is kind of challenging, dealing with prior and current years, with accounts payable and such. And I'm currently working on doing the payroll accrual and taking that first payroll of 2025 and putting it back in 2024. And I also have to calculate that, and the second payroll had 2 days of 2024, so I'll also have to put that back into the correct year. As far as accounts payable goes, I do believe 2024 invoices will be trickling in. I anticipate all of those being received by the end of February, but we will keep it open until the end of March. That was kind of the agreement that the treasurer and I came up with the auditors, to kind of encompass as much as we can as far as nursing center claims, to assign them to the correct year. I've mentioned that before.
That's the hard cut off.
Yes, that's a hard cut. As far as the audit update with the year end and payroll adjustments, the audit portal was kind of put on the back burner, but my hope is to start gathering information next week. The preliminary audit will begin on February 3rd, so we need to get things moving in that regard, and get those initial documents to them as soon as possible. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Let's see here, treasurer's report. Hopefully everybody got the note from today. Let's see. So she sent out the link to the financial reports. As far as year end goes, document compilation is nearly the way as we prepare. So Adrian just kind of touched on that. So we received $750,000 in direct pass-through federal funds. And then we have a sale of surplus property that will be coming up on the agenda. That's about it. Unless anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out directly to the treasurer. Any other thoughts on any of that? Hearing none, okay. No old business, new business, approval of payment to Carl Chevrolet for the sheriff's vehicles. This was a budgeted item. Into this year, I have an amount in front of me, a request for payment voucher in the amount of $200,540.80. And I would entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Bush, second. Mr. Oberst. Any other discussion on that? Again, this was a budgeted expense. It's just. All those, I need a. All vote on that?
No.
No. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we need everybody's signature on here?
Just yours. We'll put the notes from both meetings. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, approval of increasing employee health life insurance to $15,000. Madam Administrator, would you comment on this for the community?
Yes, this was something that was discussed probably close to 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, something like that, of an added employment incentive that would be fairly inexpensive for the county, but would go a long way with the rising costs of everything nowadays to the employees to offer something that would be more relevant to or correlate better with the costs of an actual funeral or things. The cost to the county is roughly, for the number of employees we have, about $150,000 a month. $150 a month, I'm sorry. Let me catch myself there. No. And this was something that's come up in a couple of requests from unions for the cost. And speaking with Ms. McWright, she kind of thought it would be a nice incentive to offer to employees. Sherman Helms and I spoke about it, and we thought it was worth bringing to the board for approval. And so
this is essentially moving it from 10,000 to 15,000 in terms of health.
Correct. The added cost, I think, goes down to 67 cents an employee a month. Or so it's something that is,
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
To me.
Something to offer to the employees. We talk about employee retention and other incentives, so bringing it forward for approval.
I would entertain a motion to approve it.
Motion to approve, yes.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second, okay. Discussion, yes, Mr. Kerr.
Does that include family in that, or is it employee only?
So we do offer supplemental life at the employee's cost.
Okay.
So they can add, like I could take a supplemental life policy on my husband with rates through our group. But it's subject to their health approval and different things. So there's still, I believe, $100 or $150,000 max on spouses or family coverage.
And that goes away if they're no longer an employee.
Correct.
How long?
They can reach out, sorry.
Go ahead. I want to hear what you.
I don't, there's some portability, but they'd have to reach out to the broker to arrange that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of sale of surplus properties. There are 2 properties on here. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at this. We have, let's see, parcels 18143112707 and 3230308. Selling each for $835, a total of $1,670. And I don't know if you saw the comments from Stephanie, taxes haven't been paid on this. It looked to me like a number. I would entertain a motion to approve these properties. Do I hear any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We can sign this.
Yes. Actually, I believe the whole finance committee needs to
That's what
on
I
the
was thinking.
signature page.
It's on the- Okay. Let's see, approval of resolution for advance payment of Fund 113, the nursing facility real estate tax levy. Mr. Chairman, would you mind taking the baton and explaining what we're doing with this?
Sure. So I've been in communication with Mike Filippo, the CFO for TCM regarding the outstanding payable that we have with TCM for the approved invoices. I was able to negotiate a $24,000 reduction in what's currently owed. In order to complete this, I'm asking to do an advance on the levy, as I did almost 2 years ago. To pay that off, it will come out of the general fund, I believe. The levy itself will be starting to distribute in July of this year. To have cash flow available, that all things being equal and no emergencies. So this was discussed at the nursing home committee meeting in executive session, so I can't get into too many details regarding specifics on this, but if approved tonight, this will go before the full board Thursday night. Payment would be issued to TCM on Friday the 7th.
Okay. So again, this is not a tax anticipation loan or no interfund
Advance on the
loan
levy.
going on here. This is just advance, giving them an advance on the levy they're going to get anyway. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to do that per the way it's laid out.
Motion to approve.
So we have a motion to approve. A second, any other comments?
Does this mean then, that all the outstanding invoices then will be paid to TCM,
All approved.
all the approved?
They will still be submitting their December invoice for work completed during the month of December and through January.
Just for clarification, they did handle the billing this month.
Correct.
Yeah. Make sense? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, presentations and recommendation for RFP respondents for billing, collection, accounting, and consulting services for Stephenson Nursing Center. I have not gone through one of these before, so I'm gonna just kind of run through this. Did everybody have a chance to look at these at all? So there's a summary page in front of you. I'll run through that real quick. There are 4 companies proposing a solution based on the RFP that was sent out: AGT, Hayward Financial Group, CC&M, and Matrix. So AGT, I believe, is out of Texas, if I remember right. Very detailed proposal. I thought it looked very efficient and well put together. But they're not someone that we know of. I mean, we'd have to do some due diligence. But you see the cost there was pretty reasonable and looked very detailed, like they know what they're doing. But I have no,
I looked at it real quickly.
Yeah.
And it didn't appear that they do any nursing home.
well, that's,
So I'm a little leery of that one, so.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hear.
I said I looked through it a little bit when I got it, and I did not see that they had done nursing home billing. So that one is,
medical billing, as we know, is not the same as nursing home
the
billing,
same, so I'm
right? We learned that lesson.
concerned. I have to read a lot more. Through the, I haven't read the whole thing, but I didn't see where that was in there. That's concerning me.
So, did you have a comment on ABT?
I did, actually.
Okay,
Okay, great.
They specifically state EMS billing services and in-field patient care report. So it was, yeah, it'd be so.
Yeah.
So this one is not, of course, one we can consider.
Okay. so that's off the list.
Okay.
All right,
If I could interject. just
yes,
for a moment.
please.
There is a representative from Hayward Financial Group in there.
Oh, okay, good. Well, Hayward Financial Group is up next, so would you like to discuss what you have to offer.
Yes, I will. I do have a little game now, so I'll pass it.
Would you please state your name for the
Yes,
committee?
Malaysia Hayward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Hayward is here in Freeport? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, good evening, Stephenson County Board and esteemed members. My name is Malaysia Hayward, and I am the CEO of Hayward Financial Group. And it is my honor to be here today to present my proposal to you guys for the Stephenson County Billing Consulting Service and Collection Services. I am also honored today to share how our expertise and a tailored approach to your RFP will be achieved. At Hayward Financial Group, we specialize in delivering accounting solutions that are tailored to your organization. We have over 4 years of experience in working with service-based and private healthcare billing companies similar to yours. If you will look at the paper in front of you, I'll go into detail about our tailored approach, but that is more outlined in my proposal. So for billing and collection, we plan to implement a streamlined process. We plan to utilize the software NetSuite to process to ensure timely and accurate invoicing for Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance company claims. Our firm has over 4 years of experience in working with Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance claims. Our teams will work to improve collections by establishing a structured, compliant account receivable program. And we can provide a turnkey billing system or assistance optimizing the current system. When it comes to the accounting and financial management, we will develop a detailed annual operating budget in collaboration with your finance and nursing center committee. Monthly and annual reporting will offer full transparency and insight into financial performance. And our process will ensure all payroll, trade accounts, and tax obligations are handled effectively. When it comes to our consulting services, our firm will conduct a thorough review of current contracts to identify cost-saving opportunities and suggest sustainable solutions. I am from Freeport. I was born and raised there. I'm a Freeportian. Shout out to any pretzels that are in the building. This is a place. This is the place that I decided to raise my family. So I've seen the journey Stephenson County Nursing Home has gone through when it went through WANA. I've seen it all. So I understand the challenges that you guys face in managing those operations, especially when it comes to complexity of the insurance billing, especially dealing with Medicaid Part A, Medicare Part A, Medicaid, and VA, and even the private insurance. So it can be complex. But we aim to partner with you because we have that experience. So we aim to partner with you to be able to provide you with that customized system that can accelerate and streamline. It's 2024. It's time that we create a system that streamlines and almost runs on its own. There's enough accounting software and enough accounting solutions out there to be able to build something that works specifically for Stephenson County Nursing Home. We differ from any other accounting firm because we simply have to put it, there's one service that we don't offer. We don't offer a one-size-fits-all solution. We partner with our organizations to build an accounting solution that serves only their organizations. You won't find it with any accounting system that we built. You won't find that repeated anywhere else. We currently are onboarding an administrative assistant and another accountant. This accountant will specialize completely in collections of Medicare, Medicaid, and VA, as well as the appeal process. I am also the lead accountant. I currently hold a bachelor's in the science of business from the University of Phoenix. I have a professional certificate in small business entrepreneurship management, and I am currently pursuing my master's in accountancy from Northern Illinois University. 1 semester left. Yeah, got your master's degree. You know what I'm talking about. As well as I've taught part-time accounting and business at Huntington Community College, so on and so forth. So that experience is there. And we do this by combining our technical expertise with our dedication to operational efficiency. So our plan includes a seamless transition beginning in February 2025, during which we'll evaluate and optimize the existing systems. We currently work on a 4-step process We come in and we audit the current system, what's working, what's not working, what can we advance, what hasn't worked in the past. We move on to phase 4, which is implication. We take the suggested accounting system or the existing accounting system, we implement those suggestions, we then test that, gain feedback, and then we open that system for use. And then we move on to the third phase, which is maintaining the bookkeeping, the accounting, the consulting services, and we offer partial CFO work. We advise, that's the consulting part, the advising on the financial statement and the budget. Because we understand now in 2025, with everything being how it is, how important the budget is. Okay. In closing, I want to emphasize that Hayward Financial Group is dedicated to supporting Stephenson County Nursing Home as the vital as community asset that it is. I've had family pass through there. I have friends family pass through there. Community leaders have passed through there. I understand the important it is to our community to maintain it. And we are here to partner with you. We have the expertise, we have the tools, and we have the dedication to continue the success that is Stephenson County Nursing Home. I would love the opportunity to partner with you. And again, I thank you for allowing me to present my proposal today.
Thank you very much.
You're
I had one quick question. I see in your proposal, you have proven experience in long-term care billing. Can you mind me asking what other firms you billed for?
It's not necessarily billed for. Before I became an entrepreneur, I worked in healthcare. So I worked in long-term.
So
Yeah.
at least you're
So
very
I worked in the accounts payable department for about 3 years. So
okay.
I'm very familiar. Yep.
Any other questions for Melissa?
I don't have no questions, but I was looking through the reference when I was at home. And one of the references on there, I know a good friend of mine. I did call him up and he spoke very highly of me, very highly.
Thank you for your time very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we have that in consideration. If you have a comment for us on Hayward Financial Group's proposal.
I had a question, with regard to the NetSuite, software.
Mhm.
So is that some sort of proprietary software that interfaces with our systems, or is this kind of,
Both.
just
It
a
can be
separate
both.
program?
It can be both. So that's why we prefer NetSuite over QuickBooks Online, because it can be both. It can interface, it can combine both the system that you have now, or we can create a completely different system and it's completely easy to transfer the information from your existing system to that system.
So we utilize an electronic health record system called, Matrix Care.
Okay.
That all of the charges are applied into as far as all the payer sources. So I didn't know if that would interface with that software or.
There's a third-party integration called Waystar that integrates with that and Impact very well, and that will allow that billing to be almost seamless. So yes. Any other questions?
That's your turn. I have a
Yes.
question.
Mr. Brandt?
Going back through the RFP, and there is a minimum qualification. It looks to me like it's 5 years of experience. Is that correct? Can you address that?
So, yep, I only have 4 years of experience, but that's entrepreneurship. I did not count the years that I worked in long-term care as an employee. So to add that, that would be almost 7. But yeah, that's how I can address that. As a company, as an entrepreneur, only 4 years, but as an employee and entrepreneur 7 years.
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other questions? Thoughts? All right, the next one was CC&M. Looking through this, it's the highest cost bid. And they're from Decatur, Georgia. I think get a little good feeling about this one. Anybody have any comments on that? Any thoughts? Marcos, would you like to comment on it, please?
So the breakdown of scope of services that they've laid out, and I'm not familiar with this organization, so I don't know if they're just local to that area or not, but I mean, as far as, the services that they would provide, I mean, as far as what that is, I mean, this is what we would require in theory, as far as, complete, revenue management, office support, month-end reporting, and so on and so forth. I mean, they would scrub all of our claims that we would submit for Medicare and Medicaid. They would generate statements, assist with collections efforts. So, I mean, at least on paper, again, not having a representative here in the room, And again, not me, or with me not having familiarity with this organization, I mean, in theory, they could provide what would be necessary.
It is a possibility.
Their cost was 5.5% of the monthly collection.
Yeah,
So,
about 1% higher than Matrix, cent and a half, almost in TDT up. And Hayward, I think is probably the most reasonable. True, because it's more of a flat rate. So any questions, comments on CC and F? We'll go through them all first and then we'll come back. We're looking at, how we want to move forward. I'd like to get Marcus's comments on all of them.
It'd be nice if we had a, representative.
Yeah.
Georgia, man, if I wouldn't show from Georgia, yeah,
It'd be hard to do.
especially when it's 20 degrees.
So lastly, let's move through the matrix one. The one thing I am aware of with Matrix Care, they are affiliated with the software company that we use at the facility. So they're a third-party provider that works specifically more for the billing and revenue collection aspects. I believe they were the only ones, unless I'm mistaken, that proposed going after the outstanding revenue. There's a separate proposal in here for actually going after revenue that's hanging out there. That it didn't sound like we were gonna get a whole lot of help. Just a thought, if you haven't seen that part of it, it's a higher percentage. So the 4.65% is the billings going forward. At least as far as I can tell, and then if you look back, all the outstanding AR, they would go after that at a rate of 15%, I think through up to a year. If I remember right, it's like 0 to 365 days. Yeah, age buckets less than 365 days at 15%, age bucket greater than 365 days. So if I don't know if everybody on this committee has seen our report from the nursing center committee, but there currently is over $260-some thousand that's over a year old. That, I mean, it's pretty unlikely we're going to see any of those funds, but I mean, 70% of something is better than 0% of nothing. Right way to say, or 100% of nothing.
One question,
Yes.
has anything been done? Contact those vendors at all?
Well, if I could ever get a straight answer on who they are. And I've asked that question on many occasions, Mr. Correct, that could we get a detailed report of what these are? And I've pretty much gotten stonewalled. All I've been told is that it's qualified revenue that we should see at some point. That has been the answer for the last year. And I've asked that question on multiple occasions. In my opinion, that's partly why we're in this situation.
Oh,
So, yes, Mr. Diddens.
did I hear, I was watching the nursing home committee meeting on YouTube, and did I hear, manager from TCM say that there's 200,000 which just write off, or they're writing off?
Well, I think there's a certain amount. I don't know that we've received, do you remember hearing them? I don't think that we've gotten an amount from them.
I thought, but anyway, okay.
But I can tell you from the AR report itself that at this point, it's probably over 300,000. It's over a year old.
Yeah,
And it's been a tough road, Mr. Gooden. I don't understand it, but many of the other homes that I've talked to throughout the state seem to indicate that, within 60, 90 days, they're getting paid. So, Mr. Filippo and I have not seen that item.
and no answer to why is, that doesn't make any sense at all. Just
Can't
numbers,
comment
there
on
ought to
that.
be,
I'm not.
there ought to be an answer.
That's all I can do. Anyway, so we've got the matrix. Marcos, would you like to comment on that, please?
I mean, for what this particular group does, like you said, I mean, the electronic health record system we already use. So I mean, as far as Matrix Care itself, I mean, they contract to this third party or this part of the organization that provides these services. And you're right, it does specifically mention as far as the breakout of charges for past collections, going back however far. Those less than 365 days charge 15% of net collections, and those greater than 365 days charge 30% of net collections. So they do specifically lay that out. You know, they put a priority on month-to-month collections as far as trying to, you know, capture everything that we can from month to month. So I'm familiar with this particular group outside of just Matrix Care itself. So, I mean, but the cost is a little bit higher, as you said. This is 4.65% of net billings for the Revenue Center Management Services per month. So with a minimum monthly fee of $17,368.61. So there's that as well.
Be paying on the billings rather than the collection.
Say that one more
We're
time.
gonna be paying on the billings rather than collect.
Oh, we already are.
Okay.
Because we haven't reconciled, when was the last time we reconciled the billing?
So.
No, I'm just saying, well, the contract calls for reconciliation every quarter. And we have reconciled billing once in my knowledge. So that's another thing that in terms of write-offs, the last time that they wrote funds off, there was somehow a credit that offset that. So they never really actually, they haven't written anything off, to my knowledge, since the 2023.
So we're paying TCM for billings?
And right now, we're paying TCM for 5% for billing per month. We're paying them, that's their overall management fee, but then they get extra bonuses for different things as well. And I know in 2023, they claimed a bonus of $149,000 based on the overall profitability of the center, which was in their estimation, over 6% of gross profit. I don't think that's the case, but again, I'm not an accountant, and I would put that back to our audit to reconcile that. And we may have a discussion on that down the road. They also received bonuses for star rating. They received bonuses, I think there was one other thing on there. I don't remember.
It's really not relative
It's not.
to what we're trying to do tonight.
The only relativity to it, I would say, is that irregardless of who we choose, our cost is going to go down in terms of the actual outlay that we're paying for the billing services. Because I really think that's all we've been getting from us here in 2 years. In my opinion. That's my personal opinion. So, yes, sir, Grant.
So Matrix Care looks to me like they're a very big company. 10,200 employees, traded on the New York Stock Exchange for parent companies. What are the odds that they're too big? That we become just a number and don't get individualized service out of it? Do you hear any check?
I mean, keeping in mind that we already utilize, you know, their electronic health record system to begin with anyway. We work with that company in terms of needs that we have as far as that system as a whole. We don't think none of us at the facility have any concerns in that way as far as utilizing the system in that way to begin with. So I guess that's not really something that entered into my mind. I don't know. Well, and actually, in the case of Matrix Care, like I said, they utilized a separate group, Assembly Health, and then QHCR, which is Quality Healthcare Resources, as far as a section of their organization that handles, you know, these types of services. So I don't know if we would be treated that. I have no reason to think we would be treated that way in this case. So, just based on my own knowledge of it.
But we don't know if we would be assigned to a specific person for account management. We don't know.
We have an account manager. If you look at the proposal, Brian, that Lori Nord's.
I see one there, but it
Yeah,
didn't say that we would be assigned to it. So
that we are in fact assigned to her currently.
She would be the account manager in this case. So
And just to comment on that a little bit further, one of the things that I found out when I was going through all this about a year ago, Jeannie and our business office manager, Jennifer, thank you, we're not receiving training on Matrix, and I don't understand why that was. There was some tip between them and TCM didn't want them getting trained for some reason. I went to Matrix directly. This was before Marcos came on board, and I said, look, we need to get these folks trained on your software. I don't understand they took the initiative, and as far as I know, Jennifer's been getting trained on that system. I think Jeannie's now involved. You want to comment on how that's been going with Matrix so far?
I mean, keep in mind that, and again, I can't speak to the management company as far as when they first came on board and all of that. I mean, I can only speak to since I've been on board, but Jennifer works with the management company. She works with staff within the management company to provide documentation, follow up on collections. She was never intended to, do billing and collections on her own with the management company being in place. She has a good deal of familiarity with the system, and I think if ever necessary, she could certainly go in that direction. But and Jeannie, as far as being the admissions director as well, she's come a long way as far as the usage of the system too. So.
But my main point was they weren't offered training to go in, and I'm like, that did not seem right to me. I didn't understand that. So we took care of it. And they were very personable and very, my point being is, in that process, they took charge and worked with them directly and got the job done, at least from what I can see. So it's been a good experience with them so far. Because the other thing I didn't understand, we had this system in place even back when we engaged TCM. Matrix software was already there. We were already paying for it. We already had that capability. And that's what we use for all the data entry, for everything, for the patient care, for the billing, for the whole 9 yards. I'm like, why weren't we engaging these guys sooner? From that standpoint. Again, irregardless of this RFP, this was, almost 3 years ago.
One of the things that's very difficult to do with the TCM billing is any kind of reconciliation with it.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough.
Yeah.
And having said that, I guess I would like to see whatever company we choose that we bill or we pay on a collected level, not on a bill level. Because then we have some idea of what kind of numbers are actually coming into our checking account. We can look and say, yeah, okay, those two numbers match up, we're good. If you can't do that if it's unbilled.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you read the TCM contract, that's the way it was supposed to be. Because, the way that they wrote it, and that was another one that I thought was really interesting. It was written in such a way that it was intended to be on collected revenue, but it was billed on an accrual basis. So it was billed, basically charged to us on what they billed, and then we were supposed to reconcile it every quarter. Well, with an AR that sticks out there for a year and a half, how do you do that? It's never gotten done on a regular basis. So, I don't know how we're going to handle that if we have to end up writing some stuff off, because contractually, somehow, I think TCM would be liable. But again, that's the story. So we have before us 4 proposals to move forward with a different company to support the nursing center operation, to do billing and support our accounting operation. Do you have a recommendation for the committee? Any of these?
Not at this very moment. Again, just based on what I see on paper, there's organizations here that can do, we need to have done. I'd like to research this a little bit, if possible.
I did have it worded as a recommendation to move forward to the board committee tonight.
So we could make a recommendation, and then the board is going to have to consider it anyway, and it's into the agreement. And then we'll have to write an agreement with Carl and engage them with the company to actually formalize it.
Or review what
Now,
provided.
here's the other problem we have with this. We do not have anybody contracted to do billing. PCM and their contract is pending. So we do need to move on this. It's not something we can just sit on. Yes, sir.
Need to have a recommendation tonight necessarily, put on the full board agenda. Few days to go over this, give Marcos an opportunity as well. It's not necessarily need to be approved of. Would recommend is consider to have Marcos in Georgia review to see if it meets what your thoughts are. Please let them know as soon as possible, or even tonight. And if I could continue, Tim, I just jotted down a few things that are important to me. Experience, of course, is critical, but also clean claim rate. That's how many claims are submitted without errors. That's pretty important. Days and accounts receivables, which we've referenced quite a bit tonight. Bad debt percentage, days to payment, that collection rates, access to billing analytics or the framework so that we can reconcile. In fact, of course, net collection rate is important in my perspective because of billing. Of course, that's just the dollars collected divided by total bill. Claims errors are a big issue, and they have been in the past when we engaged a different company. So I don't know, I've not seen all the detail in these proposals. I'm hoping that there's some information with that, or information that we can ask the vendors to provide as well, as long as it stays within the scope of the original RFP. But at the end of the day, it's dollars in the bank. Cash flow has always been this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was trying to find it here. Yeah, right here. If you look at the, on page, matrix appears.
I think the page prior to it.
Right after
The appendix.
Yeah, item number 9 and lists some of the performance metrics, and obviously they're affiliated with over 200 different claims, it looks like, 200 facilities nationwide, 2.5 million annually. But they're claiming net collection rate consistently achieving 98.5% off and 10% higher than facility averages. Average of 34 days, significantly below industry benchmarks for days sales outstanding. Error over 90 days substantially lower than industry standards. So, those are the things that impress me in it, plus the fact that it's already using the same software. So I think that would be my personal recommendation out of that, although I was impressed with the proposal by our local company, Hayward Financial. I think she did a great job putting that together. So I think those are the two that I would ask Marcos and George to look into further. If I can get you some consensus
I
on
would
that.
agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Anybody have any objection to that?
I've got some concerns about that. I don't,
Well, the experience part.
experience, I don't know how many other nursing homes they managing either.
Well, she said she actually worked in it, building in a nursing
So many,
facility.
how many are they currently?
She could address that, I think, too, but
I think this one.
we'll have the opportunity to talk about that further. Okay. Do I hear a consensus on that? Those two? Mr. Crick, Mr. Brandt, any issues with that?
Do we know what net collection is? Their definition.
Well,
Net.
it's like gross and net, right?
It's dollars collected divided by. That's the definition. I'm not sure that's what they're meaning.
We'll check.
Yeah.
If you're going to consider matrix as well, I would like to know when the 4.5% kicks in as opposed to the 15% from 0 to 365. I'm just curious if it's already billed and that is considered existing AR. So let's just say everything has been billed day one. that's 15%, and then from there forward, it's 4.5%. I don't know. That doesn't, it's not clear to me.
Mr. Helms, that would be my expectation. 4.5% of anything they build going forward.
Yeah, but you know how much we got sitting out there
I know.
right now that we're gonna pay 15% on that?
Well, it's at 0 to 365, so that's why I'm questioning. I would like to be
Yeah.
more specific.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, I think that makes sense to clarify.
If you could.
I'm just saying that's my kind of. Okay. Any Mr. Craig? No? All right, so we'll move forward. If you guys can look at those two further and consider it technical more, thank you. All right, any chair reports? I don't really have anything further than that. I wanted to, again, commend our financial folks for their excellent work on the budget last year. I think that came together good and how we got that put together for 2025. Seemed like audit went pretty well, with no major hiccups there, thank the Lord. So, appreciate all the work that goes into that. Administration. Anything from your committee?
Nothing really jumped out. There was a couple items. One was that deferred tax thing and that information in the, if the people can get to the link if they want for senior citizens. You see Mr. Louis is very busy with the IT stuff, and then, county clerk, she was talking about the getting ready for all the election and stuff coming up before the front. So there's keeping busy already. So all in the administration meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Let's see, since Cole's not here, again, I think everybody's aware of what happened at the nursing center committee. I really appreciate Marcus's reports every month. He's done a bang up job of bringing that stuff forward and keeping the committee informed on things. It's going very well. Looking forward to working with you.
It's
Very much.
a contract to be before the full board
Oh, good.
passed out of committee, so.
Thank you for that. Good. Let's see, public property and safety.
Yeah, just two things. Well, one for sure, we, voted on to go out for bids on the ADA compliance for the courthouse. We applied for 3 different areas of the courthouse. The front door, floor, bathroom, and basement. We only received the basement, we did the other 2. But we're gonna try again next year. So we're gonna go out for bids for that. Everybody should have got an email from Scott Thompson to fill out the request. We highly suggest that you go on and fill it out. He said it's not mandatory, but he would really like everyone to fill it out.
Is that the NIMS training?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say you didn't get bids, is that just because nobody wanted to bid it?
The question, he said, they didn't know, but,
That was what was received in the grant.
The grant. Right.
So they had the 3 project requests within the grant, the only one that was granted, the
Gotcha.
lower level.
so it's not when the basement work up.
Yep.
You can get.
Yeah, it was, I think, the sheriff's last priority, which he had prioritized, but it was what was awarded, so.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Giddens. Anything on, court service?
Court services, we approved a $40,000 payment for some software. Make it easier for the policemen to, they can enter the ticket and print the ticket out actually in the squad car. Oh, nice. And we had a real nice report from Larson about how all the groups are working together in the courthouse, that it's a smoother running machine right now. A lot of cases and getting them solved. So,
You don't mind me adding a little bit more information. It's the Quicket ticket system. Some of you might recall it was brought up last year and discussed, but the city and county will both be using it. It's integrated into a terminal in the courthouse, so it just kind of goes along with,
Fees directly.
yeah, kind of streamlining and modernizing the whole court system.
Cool.
It'll be electronic ticketing.
thanks, George.
Okay.
Sorry.
Correct. Planning and development. Sheriff Committee.
We'll be bringing forward, selling 2 properties to the city for $1. Get those, out of our headache, I guess, and take that headache away. I'm glad to see that happen. I am participating later this week in some thriving community webinars that are going on for the state of Illinois. That's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brant.
So, there's a lot of work already being done at the highway department for the construction season that's upcoming. Another section rather of Cedarville Road is going to be put out for letting in February. So, they're already preparing road construction season in 25. Another thing I want to bring up is, we have a railroad crossing elimination planning grant that is coming through. And what's exciting about this is it's a $300,000 grant, and we are only going to have to pay 20% of it.
Nice.
And it is because of the efforts of the county engineer, and that we are actually can be able to utilize this. And Mr. Rasmussen shared with us a very interesting statistic that since 2019, the county has received over $3.3 million in grants. So it's a great effort on his part. We thank him very much for that.
Yeah, something that's definitely improved since I was on board.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's made a huge difference. That's all.
Is that the railroad crossing on Bolton, or is that the railroad crossing on Harlem?
They are going to be studying every railroad crossing in the county. The ultimate goal that, once count has been made, the future grant money, we might be able to eliminate at-grade crossings that are most dangerous throughout the county. So the first step is to study every crossing in the county.
Thank you, sir.
That's all.
All right. Moving on to public comments.
I'm Lynette Williams. I am a county board member, but I do not sit on this committee, but wanted to be informed of Tuesday night's committee meeting. First, I'd like to say that I am sort of disappointed that we are not going to have a relationship with TCM. I do think that they brought us to this point, which at least has got us, our star rating is up. I understand your frustration with the billing. I did not come in to the information except just during the last couple of months. I do agree with your assessment tonight with the 2 companies that you've chosen to get further, Hayward Associates and then the Matrix. Those were the 2 that stuck out to me that I will concentrate on. And with that, I guess we'll wait until Thursday. I would say to the public, if they've got an opinion on this particular topic, that they should contact their county board representative to give that input to them.
Heartily agree.
Yes, so that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not done yet. Don't know how the relationship between the board and TCM ever got to be. They came in here and went back on all the old billing, cleaned it up, got us reductions on fines, did all that, got all kinds of money that was straightened out that Excalibur had messed up. I have a personal relationship with Mike Filippo. I call him and he spends as much time as I have to ask him questions, and he tries to. Now, because I'm not a county board member and I'm not sitting on a committee, I don't actually sit down and say, explain this sheet to me. However, he has never not answered questions. He has spent as much time as I need to help me understand what's happening. There is so much, he's charging 5%, and we tried to get you an idea of what else his company is providing for the nursing center. And that's the the number that's going to be extra over what you're going to be paying to get consultants in to do what they're doing right now. The number, and I screwed up earlier, I had said it was 12,000. When Fulton County is paying $36,000 a month for their consulting fees. And you have to figure that in. You do not get people to come in and help your nursing center without getting paid. Get paid wherever they're at, and it's a fair thing. So, you've got to somehow figure that in, what you're getting now for 5% and what you're going to be getting on for less. And they are out here, they come to committee meetings, they talk to you, and all you have to do is call them. I also understand that it's very difficult to do everything in a committee meeting. Sometimes you got to sit down, other times. It's just, this is not the best way to actually sit down, look at numbers and try to figure out exactly what, especially if there's discrepancies and you have to try to have. So that's part of what I think we're losing here. The other thing I really am pushing for is that there has to be a statement from this board that this nursing center is not for sale. That nursing center, the LOI was signed on June 16th, 2023. They had 5 days to bring in an escrow, $150,000. It's in the LOI. Never happened. That was never Mr. Whalen, Mr. Helms, our nursing center, Nicole. Nobody ever informed the rest of the board that LOI was not perfected. As soon as they didn't bring in if any of you were selling property, didn't get your escrow, you would think that contract's done. Interested, they can't come up with the money, forget it. That never was brought to the public, never was brought to this board. There is a problem. Thank you.
I agree very much with that. It feels like Allison kind of gave me this. You've got a refrigerator at home. It's packed full of stuff. You're looking for something. You open it up and you're like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm not really sure. And that's how you're looking at these proposals. You're like, well, I'm not positive. They don't. You have to pay on what they bill. Companies you don't get to just pay them in what they collect. It's not normal. It doesn't happen that way. The most telling thing is our nursing home committee chair is not here tonight. Well, I think, okay, I'll wait and see if she shows up on Thursday. That's real convenient of you to say, but I'm sorry. There's only one other member here. Well, Bill came of the nursing home committee, the three of you. But this is really important. And you guys are kind of treating it like, I'm not really sure exactly how much they're going to charge. I like Miss Hayward. I know her personally. I think she's an exemplary person. However, she has no experience. Working in building is not the same thing. You're kind of counting that extra 3 years as, well, she kind of understands what's happening. She's never been in a public nursing home. I wish she had 14 years. My God, if she had 14 years experience or 10 years experience, we would probably be very, very, very much ahead of grabbing hold of her. But she's not experienced. I think that matters.
Thank you. Sure. Come on down.
All right. So it's been a while since I've spoken as a member of the public. I'm Allison Brolencon. I actually live in Winnebago County, but Pecatonica, so I'm close enough to be in the sphere of Walnut Acres, powers, and benefits. So I've been around, I've been paying attention to everything that's been going on since problems were revealed and since it was found to be necessary for TCM to be recruited. And I was there when they were screened. I was there when they were brought on board. I'm still around. I'm still being informed about what they're doing. I really would love it if everything could be done in-house and by a public body. But the public body, the nursing home itself, the county board, the committees of the county board don't have the expertise and the wherewithal to do everything that TCM is able to do and is able to help with. So besides billing, it does these 30 wonderful, extremely useful things that keep Walnut Acres alive and viable and useful for the future, useful for future populations of Stephenson County and Northwest Illinois. I would hate to see the relationship ended. They really do benefit the people who live in the nursing home, the people who could live in the nursing home, and the people who should be living in the nursing home, and those who care about those people. Now, what could happen if they are not kept on board is that the nursing home would no longer be viable. And I would hate to see that, and I hope that all of you would hate to see that also. I hope that you would hate to see Walnut Acres fail. But without the help from TCM, that could happen. And by the way, TCM does provide training in bookkeeping and accounting. They would provide for a transition until someone in-house could take over for someone else. They have done that in the past, if you're interested in just their bookkeeping and accounting expertise. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, Mr. Bush,
So moved.
you have a motion to adjourn in a second. Good, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all very much.